Chapter 2.8 Photography. This is video part 1. So we're going to look at a brief, condensed history of photography. And we're going to start with a camera obscura. But first we're going to just review what photography stems from. The Greek words of phos meaning light and graphein meaning to draw. So that translation is photograph, writing with light. So collecting the image, there's the film, negative and positive, and then in the next video I'll talk about digital photography and how the camera is similar to the eye. So in the dawn of photography, before we actually had photographs where we're thinking about, looking at an image that's captured, there was a thing called a camera obscura, a dark room, and it was a drawing aid. So the camera itself that we know of that snaps photographs and captures them, that didn't happen to the mid-1800s. It's a little bit earlier in terms of some of the inventions, but mid-1800s, but the camera obscura happened much earlier, in the Renaissance in particular, but there's even older examples. And what it is it's a hole in the wall. Maybe you've experienced this. Sometimes natural history museums will set these up, or an artist will set it up somewhere and you can experience it. You can make this happen yourself, but it's a little complicated. I'm not going to get all into that at the moment. So there's a hole in a wall or in a room. The room itself is dark, and then this hole will take the scene outside, and what it will do is it will flip it upside down. It's kind of like if you were looking at a spoon, the reflection there, it's somewhat like that. The image will be upside down against the wall inside of the room. In this case, we have a canvas set up by an artist, and the artist would be inside here drawing and tracing all of these different things in the image, and then would eventually flip it over and then finish painting it. Okay, so light is going through a wall and a tiny hole, and is projected upside down onto a wall or a canvas in the dark room. So it's a little hole is called an aperture, and when we look at this image, we can see a moment in time captured that way. This is Abelardo Morel, Cuban photographer, and he's a really interesting guy. I have a book of his camera obscura photographs. So it's a little bit confusing because this image is reflected from the city outside, and then he is taking another camera and photographing that image of the projected upside down scene from outside. So dark room, little hole in a window over here somewhere, and then that hole is letting this projection of the city outside upside down onto the wall, and then he photographs it. Don't get confused, these are black and white images, but it's in full color. It's exactly what is outside, it's just upside down. That's the Pantheon in Paris. So he probably found a hotel room near the Pantheon so he could look at it. Pantheon in Rome is a different building, same name. This is the earliest known photograph that exists, 1826, Niepce, view from the window at Le Gras. So no one knows exactly how this was made because he kept the process secret. In the 19th century, we're really dealing with the Industrial Revolution, and a lot of technical things are evolving, new manufacturing's happening, inventions, and so on, discoveries. So when you're coming up with an idea, you may or may not share it with another person, because if it's worth money, you're going to want to be the only one that knows the process. So he didn't really share this too much. He kept it secret, but he did work with Daguerre, who made the daguerreotype later. But this is the earliest known photograph, and it took 8 hours for this exposure, and it's quite rough. But we can see a building with a tower here and a roof here. So it's capturing the light, and there was a way to capture it onto metal. That was the original photo, for like a photo material. So this is a daguerreotype, an early one from 1838, and Mr. Daguerre here of the daguerreotype puts this onto a metal backing. So when the image is captured, it's captured onto the metal plate, so there's only one. There's no negative, it's a positive, and so it can't be reproduced. Chemicals are involved. The exposure time is quite long here, 20 to 30 minutes. So that being said, you are not going to capture all of the people and the horse carts and so on that are going around on this boulevard. This is a very busy place, Boulevard du Temple. This is a busy place, but the only humans that are captured are a man getting a shoe shine and the guy doing the shoe shine, because they held still for the whole 20-30 minute exposure. Otherwise, it looks like there's no one there because they moved through the scene. So all these early photographs, people had to hold very still. Mostly they were of buildings or other things that did not move, and they were on metal plates as a positive. Oh, it said 8 to 10 minutes. So there's different types of processes in the early days: the cyanotype, the calotype, colloidal or wet plate process, albumin prints, and gelatin silver prints. So we're going to look at a cyanotype to begin with, and this is how early blueprints were made. Literally, it's a blue chemical, and this is a plant that Anna Atkins, in 1843, she put some plants on this treated paper that had the chemical on it, and then puts the plants on that, and then puts it into the sun and leaves it there for a little while, and it is exposed. And then she stops the exposure and pulls the plants off, and then that is how the work has been captured. I don't exactly know the chemicals and how this is achieved, but it's something that can still be done today, and artists do use it in this way. Rauschenberg was somebody who did use it in this way, but the negative image of the plant, of where it was and where the sun was hitting it, will remain, whatever there was a shadow on the paper.